Hey guys, Jason Stallworth here with Metal Mastermind, and we are back at part 3 of our 5-part metal mixing EQ hack series with Nic Z. Now, if you've not seen parts 1 and 2, there are links to all of the videos in this series in the description of this video. Here in part 3, Nic Z is going to walk you through step by step on how to do what's called tone matching, and the purpose behind this is so that when people go to listen to your song after listening to maybe one of their favorite bands, that your mix doesn't fall apart, that it holds up to that industry standard.
Let's get to the next hack. So I took these drums before, and I kind of EQ'd them the way I wanted with Pro Q3, just because, again, that's what I'm familiar with. But the third hack is to match, to kind of try and tone match. And you don't have to do it every time, but if you're trying to ballpark your recordings to compete with other recordings, or for your songs to compete with other songs, and I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole and be like, look, I don't want my shit to sound like anybody else's stuff. I want my shit to be completely unique, and that's fine. But why are you playing a guitar then? You know what I mean? Why do you have drums on your recording? If you want it to be truly unique, go find something that no one else has ever done, and whatever. But maybe pull that back a little bit, those ideas, and think instead that I want a good sounding rock recording or a metal recording or whatever the case may be, and try to think of it that way, because it's not weakness to think of it that way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know. That's for me anyway. When I was younger, I was always I'm trying to do something new. I was trying to do something new. I was trying to, experiment. And, truth be told, I wasn't that unique. I was playing metal. So, with that being said, I have metric AB loaded up, but let's say I don't have metric AB. Let's do this. So this is an In Flames song, just because it's similar to the vibe of what Jay gave me, I guess. I don't know. Very quickly, that's as quick as I can get to it. And what I'm looking for is just a general idea to try. I'm not trying to match it verbatim. I don't want their drum sound per se, unless you do. If you want their drum sound, great. Go get their drum sound. Sit there and tweak endlessly until you find their drum sound. But for our purposes, for all we're doing is to try and get in the ballpark in terms of highs, lows, mids, the car stereo EQ, So I'm going to listen to it real quick, which you probably can't, but you'll probably catch a couple of bars of it. Let's check it out. That's incredible. That mix is incredible. I don't even know who did that. It's probably Howard Benson or something, but that's insane. That mix is so good. But listening to it, it'll inform me now about the decisions that I want to make with my own shit. So, let's go to the drums and take a look. So, there's that, and let's listen against this. So there's much less cymbal in this mix, and there's much more drum. There's much more kick and bass, and the kick and bass are way hyped up. So let's bring this thing over. This graphic EQ, and see if we can't get something comparable. Okay, we don't have anything below 100 hertz, so we can't really push the kick drum that hard. This is more of the thump of the kick drum, but let's see what we can do. That's thumpy. So I'm trying to get the bottom of the snare at 200 hertz, which is usually like around where that lives. But when I turn this up, I'm getting some of the kick as well, because again, like that's just the nature of the beast. So I'm not going to go crazy with it. Just a little bump, and that's it. Let's see what else we got. Now, I know from EQing for years and years and years and years and years that 400 hertz isn't something I'm really looking for in drums. You know, like my kick, I would pull out 400, and my snare, I might pull out a little 400, but it's not like a huge frequency that I'm going to use. So I dipped it, took it out a little bit. Plus, and I mean, if you don't know that, like if you don't know that whether or not it's a frequency you want to use, sweep it around, and I'll do so with 800 right now, and I'll show you what I mean. So here's 800. And on opposite extremes, that sounds cool both ways. Like if you want a snare drum that has like a lot of crack in it, bring up 800. That's proper cracky. Like just bop, you know? If you want a more scoop sounding drum, let's bring it down. That's, you know, taking all the 800 out, like I completely lose the crack. So, I mean, like that's something that like normally I would use on a room track, but we don't have a room track. So whatever, like I'm going to dip it out a little bit and call it a day. Let's go to the next one. Bringing the crack of that snare back, which is nice, in 2.5. The cymbals are really raunchy though, but there's, again, not much we can do about that. It's just the way they were recorded. So now I'm not sure how much 6K I want. I know, so in this example, in the In Flames example, there's not a ton of it. It's not very bright. Let's listen. That is way more like low end, which we really can't get to. So let's not worry about it. But let's use this example and try and duck that out. So. So normally 6, 7, 8K is the top of my snare drum. And like that's really important. But in the context of this kit, like I can suck out this much. And it's taking it all off those cymbals and it sounds good. All right, let's hear 12. I like that. That's very high. I don't have any idea what the curve is on that, how they're pulling that up, but I can really, really hear that in the highs, and I can't usually hear 12K. Like when I start messing around with 12K and above, or like 10K and above, like usually the idea is that like there's a slope coming up, and like I'm just grabbing something on a slope, but like this is nice. But I would never ever use this band like this in like a normal day, but today, yeah. That sounds cool. But we're going for this In Flames thing. So all this high we don't really want. So let's check it out. And I sucked it out. And I mean, now I have more of a kick snare thing and I muted the cymbals a little bit. So let's A-B it and check it out. And let's listen to the reference. Okay, so that's close enough. Like with what we can do with a graphic EQ. Obviously, we're not going to get it to be exactly the same, but like we can get it ballpark. And there it is. And I mean, all of that EQ was done just on this with these decisions. And all I have here is to raise this and lower it. And that's it.
Guys, if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed Nic's teaching style and his approach, the way he simplifies things, Nic has an entire course where he goes through the complete process of mixing for multiple subgenres of metal. It's called Metal Producer Overlord. There's a link for that course in the description of this video. Nic also does one-on-one consultations. So if that's something that you're interested in, we'll have a link to that in the description as well. And we'll also have links to all of the videos in this series here, in the EQ Hack series. We'll have that in the description of this video. So do check that out. And thank you so much for being a part of Metal Mastermind. We appreciate you. As always, create your own sound.